So a lot of options for variability, a lot of options here. And most importantly, I think for Envy, and that allows them to put Jaru onto the Pharah. And that's exactly what they're going to be doing here on offense. Is they have Jaru on the Pharah. They might swap, though, when they see this comp for XL2. But seeing that there's no hit scan, no Diva, I think they'd still be perfectly fine running this.
We're going to see some swaps here from Envy. Fire moving over to the Mercy, the support Jaru a little bit better. XL2 hanging back. And honestly, KSP is a good Widow, or a good Hanzo, but I feel like this is a win for Envy, just not having to deal with the KSP Widow.
So Envy continuing to make some swaps now, actually getting off the Pharah Mercy, saying, actually, no, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to get the Mei. We're going to swap to the Batiste in. And when you see a comp like this coming out, it's likely that you see a fight for the high ground where they try to rotate up, force XL2 off of there, and then look for the point control.
Envy just lost a team fight without losing a team fight. 45 seconds are off the clock right now because of how much hero chess they just played. However, Batiste down immediately. Crimzo, early pickoff, and that's a little bit problematic for XL2. They're not going to have the immortality field. KSP off the flank trying to turn it around, but Sharp does not care. It's Envy just rolling their way in, and that's going to be a quick point A.
Amazing opening pick there from Crimzo, and most importantly, once the Batiste is down, when you're running the Batiste mirror matchup with the Hanzo, with the Zen, the Batiste is so much of the healing, so much of the sustain for XL2, or for either comp, really. When you remove him, you remove the ability to take those longer fights.
So Envy gonna get the payload, moving on forward. And XL2, we'll see if they make any swaps here. The problem is XL2 lost that so heavily that momentum's really going to be in Envy's side.
Envy also getting close to this early Ant Matrix and Supercharger, but the hook comes out onto Happy. He's going to get D-Mag. This is still fine for Envy. They do have ults coming up. They can look to break the shield. They can look to engage. Hemlock's looking like he might want to use that Supercharger early.
It does slow things down a little bit, where even though Happy, right by spawn, he's going to be back out sooner rather than later, it still gives XL2 time not only to reestablish, but also get some ults up of their own.
So Envy, they have double amp healing ult here with both the Supercharger and the Amp Matrix. You see them investing into the wall. It's going to block that halt hook from XL2. They forced an early immortality build, and now we might be seeing Sharks invest that Dragon into the halt Dragon because they know there's no defensive for XL2. That's exactly it.
Dragon right down Broad Street, eats Orisa right on up. And Envy now working at a main tank advantage, and they're not stopping there. The Stagger's starting to move on in, and this XL2 calls reset, reset! This Buds goes, all right, I guess I fall point. That's a thing. And Crimson just feasting at the very end.
Good setup there for Envy. I mean, it's such an important fight where if you could remove the immortality field early, where you know this, if XL2 is playing Zen, they don't have a defensive ult, then Halt Dragon becomes infinitely powerful because Buds is on Hog. They can't stop the Halt Dragon. They can't eat it. XL2 gonna have to re-enter the point. They do have the drag of their own. They're getting close to the Blizzard. But Envy overall still in a great position. They still have such an opening advantage.
Dragon once more, this time coming in from XL2. Bomb to the back! Half a cool takes down two. That was so well timed. And that is Envy roaring back into the game.
Happy's had a series, and it's honestly just XL2 having a much worse position. They have to just stagger into the point to get the touch. They have to invest the Dragon early, hoping to split. But then Happy sees as soon as that first shield is used, as soon as Gig uses that shield, cooldown's down, all of XL2 are a little bit split trying to come in. The bomb is just point into the back. Easy.
So Envy explosively tearing their way through into point C. XL2, any moment of reprieve. Supercharger down. The Dragon once more down the middle. Gig out of there right away. XL2 struggling just to stay in the game right now. They drop the Blizzard. It doesn't catch anyone from Envy. Envy just waits out the cold, and now they get to move directly back in.
Disaster. This is disaster for XL2 in a lot of ways. They're even committing their trans. Now the trans, I actually don't agree with Crimzo investing that transfer. They're hoping to move forward, and he's only lost time.
It ends up being a trade though, so it's not the worst for Envy. Jaru about to have an uncontested Blizzard, drops it on down. It's not Eden, and once more, Gig chilling towards point. Gig low and down. Envy, they're not stopping.
XL2, they will have maybe one last fight. They have OG on the Lucio. He's close to the beat. Potential to get that here. But you see that Sharp has the Dragon. You see that Fire getting close to the Ant Matrix. They have a lot of points to just pick them as they come out. They can't even touch.
No.
They don't even touch the point. No one's able to get out because they get walled there. You see the wall come out for Jaru, denying them even the ability to come out.
And we have to do a PSA to chat here. That's not C9. That's everyone's dead. No one can touch.
And it's a good wall. Just a very good wall there. And that is a fast time for Nabani. Not the fastest you've ever seen, but very, very quick there for Envy. And at no point was their ult tempo ever stopped, was their fight tempo ever stopped. They just got continuous value.
No, XL2 just got walked on the entire time. I mean, it was Envy fully dominant from beginning to end, and it started out with just the early pick from Crimzo onto the Batiste, and XL2 never really could find their foot. I think the best they did the entire series was they demech Tactical. That was it. They bought themselves like 20 seconds on point B. Gotta do a little bit more than that, Nabani, I'm gonna say.
Especially when this is another comp where you see the power of ult economy, and that you build Amp Matrix so quickly. So if you win the first fight and you have that Amp Matrix advantage, then you win the next fight, and then the following. And then if you have the following fight, you're gonna have your DPS ults, and so that guarantees you, as long as you don't lose any picks, that guarantees you the first 2 points, and you get to last, and then you get to that very important fight where you trade the trance. But at the end of the day, XL2 or Envy have now built up again towards those ults they had used previously. It's a vicious ult cycle.
XL2, still the possibility of bringing it back. Nabani is a map that you can set quick times on that can get good momentum. And Jaru, here on the Pharah, is going to be tested by KSP, Widow on the other side, though. Last time we saw Pharah v Widow, wasn't too bad for Jaru, even as good as KSP is on the Widow. And this is definitely one of the maps where you can play sightlines very well in the Pharah role.
Envy looking for this poke, make sure that Jaru is finding consistent value here. Just trying to build up towards that barrage. They're going to play slow. XL2, though, on the double sniper means that they can take these angles. They can look to remove Jaru from the skies, maybe even find Crimzo or Fire. But to see on the approach and where Envy can actually deny them. It's not happy to look for a lot of the zone here on that double sniper.
Speedily looking for early pickups here. Envy not really super interested in poking for the Hanzo on the other side, saying, all right, XL2, you have to go through here. You have to commit to some degree. We're just going to wait for you, and we're going to burn the clock while we do it. Already 45 seconds gone as XL2 ponders how to move on in here.
XL2 are certainly pondering. There's a lot of thinking going down, and KSP, he's looking for that flank, and he just is run down by Happy. He gets Mark picked, and no Hockey's going to find that kill right there. It's just going to be a res coming up for Fire.
Yeah, the problem is Jaru's working with the one-up mushroom. You have to take him down twice, because he's probably going to fall in an area that he's res ball, and Jaru punishing speedily. That was a little bit ill-advised. I don't think that was a good area to send yourself into. Farah's going to win those.
And the synergy here between this Farah and Sombra is so important as well for Envy, because Sharp is already 50, a little over 50% for the EMP. And when XL2 are playing slow and are taking rotations and don't have a Diva to zone him, that means Sharp is free farming. That means Sharp is constantly shooting. He's calling these angles for XL2 so Jaru could hide, and he can constantly mark any of those flankers.
XL2 going for the slower rotation to the high ground now. Hoping that this pays a little bit more dividends. Envy smothering as they move in. The problem is they got pressure from the front and they got Jaru working from the other side. And it's not easy for KSP to find a window to go in on Jaru, because if he misses the first shot, Jaru's just gonna lap him immediately on the other side. And Sharp gets in, gets two. This is looking really, really good for Envy thus far.
KSP finds a return kill. KSP finds Fire. The Pharaoh Mercy down. They chase a little deep.
All right, well, the key there is that KSP didn't miss the first shot. Definitely didn't miss the second. And KSP's create a window.
Though, it just flicks on both tanks. They just drop the EMP. They anti both tanks. Crimzo is consistently finding these nades, because while Bud's on Hog, you can't eat nades. You can't eat nades.
Dragon right down the middle, takes down Numblock. XL2 trying to make the most of an opportunity that KSP created, speedily falling on through. And looking KSP onto the high ground. Sightline is good, laying in the damage on the half pool. But under fire, Jaru gets sweet revenge on the other side, and now looking to prevent the resurrection. They don't let the res come through. Sharp also stealthily just being one of the most impactful players while this has been going on.
It's just the synergy here between the Pharah and the Sombra is that when they're looking at the Pharah, they're not looking at the Sombra, and if they're looking at the Sombra, they're not looking at the Pharah. It also allows him to consistently mark the front, consistently mark both of the snipers here for XL2. They're not finding any openings. Sure, KSP found the Pharaoh Mercy there, but the spawns are relatively close. Sharp has the EMP, he's 70 to another. They need to get more picks. They simply must get more picks here for XL2, or once again, they're running to the trap they ran into on Volskaya.
And we're under a minute right now, 45 seconds left. It's gonna be the final push for XL2 to get something going, and it's not necessarily looking great for them now. Now, Numblock's hitting pretty low. He's built back up in a hurry. Get the pressure. Barrage in store, and he's gonna fall. They deny the resurrection. Fire still moving around in Valkyrie. Fire potentially gonna go for it. Takes down Ana on the other side. The resurrection not gonna come out here. Jaru back in spawn. XL2 with an opportunity. KSP good positioning up over the top. And Envy spawned one by one. I don't think they can make a good attempt back at this. Point A, gonna go to XL2, and they're not gone yet.
Still a pretty good personal there for Evie. I think there was some unfortunate pickoffs for them. They're a little split. Numlock got pressured off that high ground when he really shouldn't have. There should have been no reason for Numlock to have to fall off that high ground when Ana is being played. But they couldn't keep him up. They couldn't keep him on there. And now this is where XL2 need to take. They were given an inch, but they need to take a mile. These snipers need to be denying the entry for Envy. They need to be finding these picks. They need to be making sure that Envy does not feel safe. Sharp is still on the Sombra, so he's a little bit afraid to invest the EMP right now when the Info Sight is out. For the next fight, I imagine we're going to see an EMP nade come out for Envy or an EMP bomb, either of them. Well, no nade, though.
Oh, speedily takes matters into his own hands. Gets two to start things up. Not done yet. Working to the backside. Sharp in danger. Sharp the other side, just trying to get away, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be XL2 getting an enormous amount of payload push.
Beautiful play from Speedily there, and that was exactly what needed to be done. I said how the double snipers, now that they're on second, now that they have all this room to work with it in the enter, they need to be taking advantage of the flanks that are given to them. And OG and Speedily on the flank with the damage boost, taking those kills, though. Envy are going to have another entry once again. They have Tankles, they have EMP. KSB and Speedily need to be the heroes, and Haku cannot get caught. He needs to stand to keep someone alive.
Speedily trying to keep up the momentum here from XL2. A minute 20 left. It's been a clear ride. 2 seconds. Tactical though. Bomb to the back. Jaro already finding KSP. That dealt with one of the biggest threats here. Hack on OG, courtesy of the EMP. Sharp here on the ground. Envy working with a better position here thus far. Resurrection on the KSP though. Widow threat comes on, roaring back. They're under pressure. Amp Matrix down for Envy into the back. Bud sleeping on the job, really preventing a lot of value off the Nano. XL2, more presence on the point here. KSP, Immortality Field. Now looking for Ana. Clean sightlines for KSP. This is where he can get oh so dangerous on the top.
Numlock is back. He has the supercharger. Jaru has been a consistent threat here. And despite what was a barely flubbed EMP bomb from Envy, Jaru has just not gone down. Everyone has stayed alive. The fight has taken such a long time to go on, and they're winning it there. The sustain is incredible. Jaru on the Hanzo.
We might be looking at the much rarer than the norm second point hold here on the Bonnie. 22 seconds left from XL2. They don't have much time left to get to the point.
It's also, once again, XL2 with no ult bank. Speedily KSB show. It's the Speedily KSB show to open up this fight. But considering that Fire has the Amp Matrix, he's going to try to drop that early, run over the front line. You see Crimzo looking to hide. They're probably going to put Numlock's bomb. They're going to halt as well.
He's not able to finish yet. Jaru somehow lives. KSP missing a crucial shot there. Speedily though, even the Sharp, still opportunity. But Jaru's life being extended results in Ana dying on the other side. There's a Happy bomb off on the other side. As Happy evens things up here for Envy. Numlock following through, and it's going to be Envy going up 2-1 here in the series.
And really the rock of Envy there in that fight, and the rock of Envy continuously has been Happy Cool Sharp. They've just been a rock. They've just been someone that they're continuing the fights. They did not use the EMP very well at all, though. They throw in the bomb. They were hoping to EMP those targets. And rather than Sharp just saying, okay, we're not going to be able to catch him on this EMP where the bomb will find value, he just invested anyways. There was sort of the sunk cost fallacy there.
Yep.
In terms of thinking, what can they actually find? But it works out in the end because Jaru pops off.
Also, the interesting thing there, too, is that I think Hafikul was very obviously explosive there in more ways than one, but Sharp also, where the camera wasn't on Sharp a lot, and usually there was a bigger story going on in a lot of the situations. But towards the end of the fight, you just saw Sharp going, I'm going to pick off you. Also, EMP next fight. Sharp had a really stealthily good game there, and they did a great job of just containing KSP in general.
So now XL2, they are currently down. Envy up, kick another map. Still plenty of series left, though, because remember, it's first to 4. So even if XL2 were to lose the next map, they have time. They can still bring it back. They can still bring it back there. They can even draw multiple maps. There's a lot of room left for XL2 to get themselves back into the series.
Oh yeah, this is a buckle up, get ready. There's a lot of Overwatch here today. It's 2 back-to-back best of 4s, or first of 4s rather. It's not, that's just sort of cross-day streams. It's like BO7, first of 4. It's like, no, just first of 4. We could have more than 7 maps.
So we're just waiting for XL2 to pick their map because it is loser's pick. And Envy just reminded me a lot, you know, it's going to sound crazy, but in terms of their playstyle, it reminded me a lot of Runaway last night when we played that last match of regular season, and that they really like playing a Pharah Sombra, or a Pharah Hitscan. because you're able to take the pressure off of both those DPS sort of work to take the pressure off of each other. And Pharaoh's also great because you can pressure a D.Va, you can set up the barrage, and when you have a player like Sharp on that Sombra, it's just great.
No, it really, really worked out well. And again, it's a sort of the dichotomy of dealing with the Pharah requires a lot of mental attention. She's going to be in sneaky areas in the sky over and over again. And while you're trying to keep track of the Pharah, you also have to keep track of a stealthy hero in the back where if you're not looking at Sombra, if you're not giving her due diligence, she can rip through you. And not just rip through you, but in the back of your mind all the while is, how do you stop Sombra from building up a quick EMP? And it's why that particular combination can be very difficult for teams to deal with. Now, again, I think the bigger story going on in here is that how is KSP going to be dealt with here? And he was under enormous pressure. I think Jaru's #1 priority was dealing with KSP. And then KSP not only had to worry about Jaru, who was always hunting and had a better pocket behind him most of the time, but also Sharp, who's just opportunistically heading into the back. It was a very tough area for KSP to actually get space and get things done.
I also think it's one of the instances where XL2 are relying very heavily on their snipers to pop off. And if they're not popping off, then they're not winning. Because if you're playing that double sniper setup with the Hanzo and Widow, you don't have much to just fight win on the point, especially with a Hog. You have no ults. You really don't have ult fights. You have okay, we're putting ourselves in a better position to win a fight rather than actually just big ult fights where you commit, unlike Envy with the comps that they were running with Pharah, with Sombra, with D.Va. It's a lot more in the bank for them to actually commit to hard invest into a fight. And I think if you're running into that Pharah Sombra comp, they probably need to get speedily onto something that can more directly deal with Sharp rather than have the Hanzo, because they weren't winning Shield Wars.
Definitely a conundrum for XL2 to solve. Now, they have at least 2 more maps to figure things out. And Dorado, I look at Dorado right now, I still can't think of anything other than last night where we saw Dorado go to 6 points. The final match between, what a way to end Meta Athena versus WGS.
So, Envy gonna be on the offense first. XL2 taking Dorado here. They're running the Xin Batiste with that Hanzo Mei, so a lot of shield break, a lot of utility. They have opening picks when necessary. Envy going to see this. It looks like they're actually just going to mirror. They'd rather just play that mirror here. Try to force them out.
KSP back here in the Hanzo, where again, I think KSP on Hanzo, almost a win for Envy in respect, even though I think Hanzo makes more sense with team comp here. He's not quite as explosive on the Hanzo relative to the Widow.
I need healing.
And XL2 just playing it slow, getting the shield pressure onto Unlock, making sure that they can see this. They force any of these cooldowns early for Envy as they look to enter the point. Through the rotation coming out now as Envy moves to the high ground, going to try to enter from this right side rather than the point side. It's a nasty choke there in the lower.
Envy now rotating as they plan their approach into the courtyard. I mean, Numlock and Happy leading the way down the steps. On, from their perspective, the left side. Hook comes out, does not quite connect. Is really close to getting ganked, but Jaru on the side deals with Batiste. Look at that, KSP super low under heavy pressure.
The KSP is literally one. He's so hurt. OG's not there. It's such an important pick, and now Envy, they can roll forward.
Envy just being surgical as Crimzo gets 2 off on the other end. That's one way to finish out the fight here on first, and Envy really starting to pick up steam here in the series.
And that's all off that opening pick onto OG. They get that early damage, and as soon as the Batista's room is, Crimzo finds him again with a good right click. Just 4 kills coming out. And Envy, they're going to look to take this space. They're going to look to deny it.
I want to talk about a player that a lot of people feel has been slept on for Overwatch League prospects, Crimzo. Crimzo has continually improved in his tenure here in Contenders, and you're seeing a small sample of it here.
KSP now that they made it to second and they have these long sightlines, going to go back to the Widow. No more Hanzo for him, but now that he's on the Widow, that means that Sharp can win these shield duels, also break down the health for these tanks much quicker than KSP can.
KSP on the Widow, gonna be looking for the hook shot. Halt set up here, but KSP not positioned. Meanwhile, Dragon right down the middle. Crimzo with the fall through again on a rampage. Gonna drop the Transcendence now the other way. As Envy continues to push on in. Better position from that. Well, hook on in. Bud starting to equalize for XL2 on the other end, but KSP got free on the sight lines. So despite the opening, Envy now starting to get pushed back a bit.
Tank line for XL2 retreating there into the courtyard near the Mega Pack. Gig invests the supercharger there and gets those kills. Oftentimes we do, it's hard to see the contributions of the main tanks in this meta sometimes, but Gig, a silent, strong performer. Same goes for Numlock. I mean, it's just really good squads all around. It was a good call there from Gig, though, to just bring them into the courtyard and then invest the supercharger when they're trapped in there with them.
Sharp can be creeping around the flank while Envy goes down the middle. And Sharp already under fire. KSP knows he's there. On the other end. Widow battle continues. Jaro moving on forward.
This is a big blizzard. Look at them. This catches 3. Catches the back line.
Sidelines-wise, they're able to get Batiste. They're looking for a little bit more. They rotate around. A lot of XL2 is able to get away, but not enough. Sharp finishes off the Mei on the other side. Aku, though, firing back. Both ends having a really good setup here, but it's Envy with more momentum. XL2 having to give up ground bit by bit. The supercharger being invested. They want more. They want Bud out here. Bud, though, returning fire. Gets down 1. Transcendence back in here from XL2. And this is one area where the defense can get back onto the point of Avast.
They can get back up to the point, but they burn their cooldowns are so low HP. They're going to have the Blizzard invested now, but the trance is up for Crimzo. They have nothing to stop these heals. It's just a slow game for XL2 because their spawns, they're going to be coming back, but they have no ults, and Envy winning the pick game. Another great supercharger there where they just chase the frags in. Come on, puts it on the corner where it's hard to clean up.
Sharp prevents any shenanigans of KSP rotating around the backside. I don't think it would have mattered one way. They didn't have the front line there as all. And this is a bit of a speed run in from Envy right now. 3.5 minutes going to Dorado C. You are living your best life.
KSP has just not been finding the frags necessary right now. While Envy have been winning the shield war consistently. They've been winning the shield wall. They've been finding a lot more value with their walls. Jaru has the Blizzard here. And now for Envy, they're going to look to just control the high ground. They know they can keep KSP under control. But Jaru picked early from the Halt, or actually from the Matrix, not from the Halt Hook, but very quick.
Sharp, though. Counter firing. Gig is down. Envy still has Numlocked in the fight, and with Crimzo low but not out. It's going to be healed. They're going to get behind Numlock's shield. Envy can still pressure this. KSP, though, dealing with Sharp. And again, it's not just to pick up from the Sharp. It's what KSP now can do after. Going to be under less pressure. Can move back in, take a more aggressive position. In over the top. KSP a little bit greedy here.
They should know. They should know that XL2 has used their immortality build. You see Jar moving forward. Buds, he's caught. This Blizzard could be huge with no immortality build up.
And they had to use the wall defensively. Now they're not having it at the other end of the Blizzard. Sets things up so well. Let's Crimson get the pickup. Envy 3-1 off the Blizzard, keeping it moving forward.
That was a good read from Envy and an overcommittal by XL2. The fact that they used the supercharger on the corner, got caught in a position where they get halted out of position, used a lot of their cooldowns early, meant that Jar could come right in and drop the Blizzard, bring them in here. XL2, they have to re-enter the point. They're on Widow, though, and Envy, they have a lot of ults. They have double support. They have double support ults.
This is looking so good for Envy right now. XL2 gonna try to bring things back on and over, but that's not gonna happen. Envy, with what is undeniably a very fast run here on Dorado. And now XL2, the gauntlet has been thrown at your feet. I'm not talking about the tournament. I'm talking about the actual
metaphorical
gauntlet. The metaphorical gauntlet.
I hope not. I mean, it would be great if they had an actual gauntlet there ready, but I think it's much more of a metaphorical one in this case.
Look, Hastro supports Envy incredibly well. He could get that.
Get the gauntlet, huh? Well, I'm sure a gauntlet it's just like a glove.
Well, I mean, in the end, they're just looking to snap the rest of the competition out of existence.
Well, hasn't worked out for them in the Overwatch League, but I have to say that maybe it's looking pretty decent here for Contenders, if that's the case. And for XL2, it's so important to watch in that last fight. When the Blizzard is up and you don't have a Blizzard of your own, it's the pre-dance, the dance before the Blizzard, the watching the cooldowns before that Blizzard is up. And XL2 overcommitted, they chased, and they used the immortality build far too early. That's really what opened it up for Envy.
So 2 minutes, 11 seconds left in their time bank. XL2, the next move is yours. And I like what we're seeing from Envy here. I think if Envy comes out on the defensive bar, which now they've left spawn, it's very likely. I think this is going to be the world's quickest swap from KSP from Hanzo over the Widow, because I don't think Hanzo gives them enough ability to deal with Jaru. And we saw it in Contenders Korea earlier today, and I don't think it's a good strategy. I think of all the Pharahs to ignore, Jaru's probably a bad one to not give proper respect to.
Envy now going to hold this high ground. They are playing that Pharah Mercy like you talked about. With Sharp on the Widow, it means that they have to deal with that dual threat between both the hit scan and the Pharah Mercy. Sharp is watching the spawn. He's waiting. He's daring OG to come out. And OG did. He did not get kicked.
Again, maintaining creative angles here on the Widow. And KSP already onto the Widow goes, oh, you're running a far. All right. Well, Widow, maybe the name of the game here. But it's problematic for KSP because he has to worry about not only an opposing Widow, but also a Pharah. It makes them good shots difficult. He tagged both.
Oh, yeah, he tagged both. That was he didn't get them, but it was still pretty impressive shots. XL2 now moving forward through the choke. Well, I know that Fire and Jaru up in the air. They're going to try to win the ground duel, or at least take the space.
Widow up and over. KSP on Mission Impossible, kind of playing his own game. No, well, gets slam dunked by Jaru in the back. And now Jaru, plenty of room to work with. The back was just a start. Now he goes to the rest of XL2. Half goal in the front, rockets to the back. XL2, a reset is headed your way.
And this is a good, very good play actually from Jaru and Fire. Because they're not overcommitting on the Fair Mercy. They're not going for that extra damage while KSP is looking to pressure them. Instead, they're just hiding. They're hiding and waiting for XL2 to commit and then running to the backline when KSP has no one to tank him. That's how they got that opening pick. XL2 now making the swap here. Going to put Buds on the Diva to deny some of the value for Jaru. It's really onto the Hanzo so they can burn these tanks. They have another DPS that's going to deal with Jaru, but most importantly, I think the Buds Diva is exactly what they need to do in this comp.
Buds is going to help put more pressure on the Jaru, but I still think that this is just so difficult for KSP, good as he is. The double threat, when you're not getting as much health or help, I mean, Speedily is a threat in the back, but Sharp, tell that to Sharp, who does not care. Speedily has had a lot of trouble really getting any momentum in the Hanzo v Widow battle.
The Infrasight is now run out for Sharp. KSP will have his soon, so with XL2 playing the double Hanzo, this Infrasight will actually be very important because it allows them to keep track of Jaru and Fire at all times. They can hunt for the backline here. If I'm Envy, I know this. I know I have Nano Barrage. Maybe get some early pressure here on Buds without that Nano Barrage.
Jaru keeping up the pressure. Barrage built up. And for Jaru, just about maintaining good sight lines, not letting the Widow get in on you. And oh, well, guess what? You're worried about the Widow. You weren't worried about the Hanzo. Speedily takes him out of the sky. Had a good shot onto it. Now going on the flank. Meanwhile, half a cool for Envy. A little bit more in the front line here. Still maintain control of the payloads. Going over, covering the flank, looking for Speedily. Hooks him on in and takes him down.
KSP's still going to find the shot there and happy. And OG with the res, but this far favors Envy in terms of, you look at this, there's no damage for XL2. They have no damage at all. With those KSP Speedily down.
That was such a good adjustment by Happy. Happy knew exactly when to rotate off the main and deal with the flank on the other side. It just ruined Speedily's day.
This is just XL2 returning to an old trap here with the double snipers, and they get that opening pick. But they're still losing the fight on point. Envy, they had that good ult bank. Haku, though, even though he trades his life for it, he does find Jaru. The Jaru's going to have to come back from spawn. They're not going to have the res available. But the real question still remains is, how does XL2 get through this choke? And the answer is they need the double pressure with the snipers, and this nano onto Buds, I think, is the key. I think a nano onto Buds here to allow him to zone this Fair Mercy effectively, or zone Crimzo, one of the two. It has to be something. They have to have Buds be the one as he gets hooked.
Or Buds could get hooked in immediately, and it might be a desperation nano. No nano at all. Meanwhile, Jaru in the back. The Barrage gets two. Envy in a real good spot. Now, Jaru ends up falling. Res on Ana. Jaru is not in a resable spot, so Envy actually can have to give up a bit of ground here. Numlock though, the nano goes on to him, and Numlock can be the vanguard here. Wait for Jaru to get back in. Res on the Half-a-Cool. Envy still able to win, but the Bionade puts Crimson on Numlock in such a bad spot. Bud's able to clean up. And XL2 able to turn the fight around.
Finally, despite the good read there from Indy with the intercept the Barrage, they should be taking this point. Happy going down. Sharp gonna find Haku, but it's over. It's done. Envy losing first here. It's gonna be Fire dying on the point.
But it drains so much time off the clock. The problem for Dorado is that it takes so long just to traverse point B that point B, it's going to burn most of their time. And then point C is one of the hardest points in the game to really get through. XL2 essentially has to roll Envy the rest of this map, really just to even complete, let alone have a competitive time bank.
KSP setting up here on the flank. Speedily, we're going to be doing much the same on the opposing high ground. Looking for picks. Bud's currently asleep. Not doing much, but they're not going to be able to find him. They're not able to get the halt, get the hook on him, or anything like that. And Envy, they swap to the double sniper of their own.
KSP immediately flicks on the Crimzo. And that's exactly what XL2 needs here. Just staggering Envy, one by one by one. And keep up the momentum to get through point B. But that goes against that. Speedily picked off. Now Envy has a foothold to bring this fight to a much more favorable position.
And Envy can play slow. All they have to do is play slow here. They trade the emphasize here. going to be watching them as you see that OG investing the Valkyrie, but XL2 working against the geometry, working against the space that Envy have.
Ooh! Sharp caught by the sleep, and here comes the alarm clock. Moving on over. Pretty deadly one at that. Speedily finishes off in the bomb. Interesting bomb setup here. Actually catches Numlocked. Buds! The unconventional bomb connects. Now, the resurrection out of immediately. Still able to hold on. Dragon up and over. Numlock's out of it. And XL2. This is exactly what they need to do here on B.
Great halt into the Dragon there. They do that when Happy's on the hog. They can get a free halt Dragon, but Sharp and Jaru are still alive. Can they continue to do it?
Yes,
they are!
They can! The Dragon and Jaru from the back, just when you think XL2 was about to take it. It's Sharp and Jaru. Uncontested from the flanks, ripping XL2 the shreds.
This is just the cleanup here for Envy now. Their spawns are back. And despite that opening, despite some of those picks for XL2, if you're not dealing with Sharp and Jaru, this is the value. This is the strength of a double sniper, of a well-executed one. XL2 just not finding, just not winning the duels, not finding the same value here. And when your double snipers are popping off, it's sort of just like walking into the sightlines and dying and just respawning over and over. The KSP will find Sharp as I say that.
Speaking of walking into the sightlines dying, the problem is that, again, one-up mushroom fire, able to res right back up on the other side. KSP, you've done one. You do a little bit more. Just tell you, still up. Sightlines there. Speedily's down. Now it really is off the KSP. Resurrection in. That is a nano Hanzo. Hanzo on the other side. Jaru laying damage from there. Buds down. Speedily firing back. XL2. Final opportunity here in Dorado. With Jaru uncontested on the other side. KSP. Taffy. XL2 still hanging on here. They still have Gig on the point. Lose Mercy though. Arisa versus Arisa. Gig one of the last anchors they can look to, and look at the sleep on the other side. KSP down. Jaru, his job made easy with the assist from Crimzo on the other end. And now it's all falling one by one. Envy gonna be holding off XL2 here. Buds with the last little bit of delay, but the spinning stops. Emergency Doomfist is in, but it's more and more tortured. Envy here on the cleanup, and Envy now one map away from being your champions.
It's just a tale of two sniper duels. In this case, I think it's KSP and Speedily just were not winning duels. And if they were winning them, they weren't denying the reses. And then as soon as the res was used, it was just a much better counter engage for Sharp and Jaru. They were consistently finding flank value. They were getting nanos. They were getting damage boosted. There was just not the same usage of those flanks for XL2 that there was for Envy. And also, just as importantly, is Happy is continuing to put far more pressure here on the D.Va and zoning the backline when on D.Va or on Hog than Buds is.
And I think in all the factors you mentioned, I think the biggest issue is that Speedily has not had the impact as a duo partner of the KSP or the synergy that Jaru and Sharp have had, where I think KSP on an individual level has been matching or surpassing both Jaru and Sharp alike at times in the series. The issue is that you're dealing in a game of pressure. You're dealing in a game of multiple threats. And because KSP was getting focused on so heavily at points, Speedily had opportunities. He really did. And he was not able to make the most of those opportunities in the way that Sharp was bouncing off of Jaru, in the way that Jaru was bouncing off of Sharp. And sure, I also agree in the front line that I think Happy in particular has been having a really good series. One of the best I have ever seen him have, in fact. And this goes all the way back to 2016. Happy's been a monster, there's no doubt about it. But on the DPS war, XL2 has definitely been falling short.
So XL2 trying to keep their hopes alive here in the NA West Grand Finals. They do have one more map, potentially, maybe some more after that. They need to win it, because if they lose this next map, that is going to be going up 4-1. That is the series, that is the finals. This is their pick. They need to take it to a map they feel comfortable on. And Envy, they have to be feeling the momentum right now. This is key momentum. They're up 3. They had a great Dorado. They have to be feeling themselves. They have to be feeling great.
Yeah, I mean, not only was their defense good, but lest we forget, not so far in the past, they also speed ran on their offense. And I mean, the fact that it was only 2 minutes and 11 seconds left, let me tell you, it could have been quicker.
Just waiting for both squads here to get ready to get into the next map. XL2, I really would like for them to stop playing double sniper. I think that's my number one thing for XL2. My current really criticism is that they're relying so heavily on the double sniper that I think I would love for them to be engaging a lot more onto the Mei, even onto the Speedily Doom speedily is great projectile player. He just has not been finding success on the Hanzo, at least in the double sniper. Just has not been finding that success, the same success that Jaru has in particular.
Not quite. But now we move over to Busan, and it's going to be a control map where XL2's overall run in playoffs could come to an end. It's not quite their season coming to an end, given that they've made gauntlets. So this is sort of an interesting case where there is a light at the end of the tunnel, regardless of how this goes. However, they are playing for a considerable chunk of change here.
And even more important than some ways in the chunk of change is the chunk of change they could potentially earn in the future by, if you earn a bye, yes, you're still going to have to play some very strong teams from Korean Contenders. That is always true at the end of the day. But a bye can get you further in the Gauntlet. And the Gauntlet, it is the event. It is the event for Contenders. They've already talked about how they're sending Overwatch League representatives there to scout it out, to see you play on LAN versus these multi-regional talents. It's going to be so important for them here, seeding-wise, still, for the Gauntlet.
Very much so. And now for XL2, I mean, now's the time to take a deep breath. Consider how you're going to go about things here. They're a team that's very, very good at brawling out here, but also don't forget, going back to the first map, it was back and forth on control, where both teams started out with a round apiece. And the defining factor, it was Jaru on the Pharah.
Just waiting for these squads to get ready to play here on Busan. Both teams still just getting in here. And this is it for XL2. They're seated on the line for the Gauntlet. Sure, their season is by no means done in terms of they can go forward to the Gauntlet still. They still have that secured at the end of the day. But they would like to get this nice chunk of change. They would like to be crowned the NA West champions.
And I think regardless of how this turns out, like let's say Envy ends up finishing on a 4-1. This was still a good performance from XL2. It's a very promising performance. And you can't forget that this has been a turnaround season for XL2. They did not have a great transition out of their old roster into their new one. They had sort of had a downtime of season. But you have to give a lot of credit to the management behind XL2 and the coaching staff to reinvigorate the team and put them in the spot they're in now. The fact that they're going to Gauntlet in and of itself is a great story.
So XL2 Envy rolling out here for what is potentially the final map on Busan. XL2 on the Bay Reaper. Envy once again utilizing this Pharah with Jaru. Gonna play a little slow, gonna look to get the poke. To have that damage, and Sharp gonna have that extra pressure onto the backline, or at least onto Buds and Gig, and that is gonna be the hack on a Gig already.
And already XL2 find themselves under enormous pressure. Jaru and Numlock's combining for the early tank pickoff, and Numlock just dancing back and forth with the shields right now, under pressure, shaking a lot of it, ends up falling in the end. KSP, and on the ground, XL2 make it a little bit interesting, but I think it's just overwhelming pressure from Envy. KSP trying to be the hero, the Reaper on the ground, and they have more point presence. Jaru's in the air, and the rockets are deadly, but XL2 get first control.
I mean, they ran over the front line. Now Jaru, he's still here, he's still fighting, he is going to have that barrage very soon. But XL2 are just rotating around, they're just hunting the rest of Envy that are on the ground. Jaru's fire
when your Reaper is anti-Pharah from the rooftop, it almost makes it work. Jaru, though, gets a little bit of space, drops the barrage on the other side, ends up falling, but not before doing some serious damage to XL2 on the ground.
Sharp and Numlock made their way to the point. Haku is actually going to hunt fire there with the Coalescence. KSP getting Numlock. But you see the health here for Envy. They should be in a very good situation. They need to finish off the Reaper fast, though. They don't get rid of KSP. They're in a rough situation. They're fine now, though. No KSP. A bit of a torturous flip there for Envy. Good presence for XL2. Not only do they get the flip, they deny the value for Pharah long enough to where they can get some of those opening picks and keep themselves in the fight. Going to re-enter this next fight here with the Blizzard, with the Death Blossom.
I think they need a swap, though. The problem is that dealing with Pharah in the first fight, that's one thing. Dealing with Pharah when Jaru's going to get so much poke before they even get to the point, that's another thing entirely.
Well, now that they know that Jaru doesn't have Barrage and Sharp should not have EMP just yet, they can feel confident even if they give up a lot of damage to Jaru here, taking the fight to point and looking to isolate someone early with the Blizzard.
They got the point really quickly. Did not take that much poke damage, but oh no, Crimzo striking from the back. A big Bionade, sealing the doom of 2 to begin with, and the rest falling right after. And that just bitter shot on the Reaper. Just, unnecessary, but absolutely brutal.
Now it's time to swap, in my opinion. I actually think it's time to swap 100%. That was the fight you could take because you knew that Jaru and Sharp didn't have ults just yet. But you're going to be walking into the ults here for Envy again. And then you're getting stuck into the ult cycle. The Reaper here is not really going to be effective. I think the Mei is still fine. Has a lot of utility. You can freeze the tanks. You have the Blizzard. But KSP on the Reaper, he's just gonna be walking around aimlessly, hoping to find somebody, but when you're playing against a Diva or Orisa getting tanked, you're just, unless you're getting constant freezes, it's tough out there.
You just create mental image of Lonely Reaper looking for somebody. Well, guess what? It's raining, it's pouring! Yaru with 4 up on the other side. Pure devastation. And you're totally right. This has been time to swap for at least 2 fights now, if not longer.
I think they're going to commit. I think they're going to commit again because they say, well, Envy doesn't have any ults again, so let's walk in. But even if they win this next fight and have to use ults, then they walk into the same exact situation where the following fight, Envy once again is going to have that EMP barrage. They have time to build it up.
XL2, they just gotta get to the point. Yaru, though, the absolute madman attacking him from the back and rotate back over to the front. Uh-oh, Numlock's in danger. Numlock's about to be a 1v3, immediately mugged. The Blizzard doing some work here, and XL2, the blitz onto the point, working on out.
I mean, it worked in that they've got to the point, but they had to invest the Blizzard, they had to invest both the Portal and Supercharger, and look at Envy's ult bank. Yaru has built another barrage already. Sharp is 70 EMP. All they need to do is wait for the win condition, because there's going to be no support ults. For XL2, there will be absolutely 0. So KSP, but they need to find something, and
Speedily is deep
attack.
diving. This is, it actually works out. Kinda works out. They get Crimzo out of the fight early. Meanwhile, Yaru back on the other side. And XL2, this is gutsy, but so far, is there a chance?
Well, it's what they have to do. They have to hold closer, because if they play around the point, all they're doing is letting Yaru and Sharp set up. They need to be playing close to these chokes. They need to be looking for these aggressive engages. But with each fight that happens, Sharp gets closer to the EMP. Yaru has that barrage ready. Nano barrage is up. Sharp 88% to the EMP. This is last fight. This is the last fight here. How can XL2 stop the value?
Over from Happy, or no, not from Happy, from XL2 on the other side. Yaru, Evo, with Lucio. The other side. Has Barrage up and ready. Death Blossom KSP not quite as effective as we would have liked. Numlock fighting Envy. It's not a pretty fight, but it's a fight that they're starting to win. They're rotating on the point, 98%. They had no other choice. Bud's just going for a little bit of delay, but it's gonna be too little, too late. Yaru in such a good spot, drops the Barrage, and that's the finisher at the very end. Envy gonna take the round. Now 1 round away from being your NA West champions.
I really want to see, I want to go to the Wizarding world with Yaru and see where can he find that invisibility cloak. What's it like to be completely untouchable, just to have no one know you exist? Because XL2, they played it where I said earlier, sure, they might get the swap after those ults are used finally, but even when they finally get the point flip, they're gonna have to wait till the next fight for Envy 1 into EMP Barrage, and they had nothing to deal with it.
To his credit, KSP did see through the illusion momentarily, where we had the rare moment of a Reaper trying to be anti-air on Tafara. Got reasonably low at that, but that's about it. And I will say there's a kind of weird notion here where the point that's really wide open that you'd expect Widow, XL2 doesn't play Widow on, and now you go to the base stage where it's not as Widow-friendly a point, so it certainly can be played, and they go for the Widow. So this is it, the XL2 tournament life here on the line. Envy looking to be your champions once more. This round could decide it all.
Envy going to be taking this bridge side first. They do have that Orisa Hog with the May, so a lot of ability to find people. But Sharp getting slept and then getting fisted. Bye-bye.
Just blown away. That's an alarm clock and then some. XL2, a statement here to start things off. Speedily on. Excellent cleanup here. Gonna whip that one. A little bit too deep, but it still should be XL2 with first control of the point.
Haku had himself quite a mid. You see this slowly but surely gonna be the cleanup. Sharp is back. Gonna find Haku. Gonna get some revenge there for the initial sleep, but XL2 have gone the first flip. They've won the first fight. Envy should see the comp that XL2 are running. Swaps, just swap. Just go full swap. Yep, that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They're getting Numlocked onto the Winston. We haven't seen a lot of Winston lately, but it makes a lot of sense here when you're playing against the Widow and that Ana.
And Happy and Numlocked have very good synergy in their Winston team setup. Something they ran a lot, especially in their British Hurricane days. Speedily dives on in, gets on out, goes, whoa, 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 there's that Winston. And he's down! Speedily getting caught out. The swap from Envy, putting it in a very different situation. Now Sharp room to work with. Yaru on the Tracer, back the other way. It's double hit scan pressure in from Envy. KSP able to find the Tracer, but still Envy working at a good clip here. Still an advantage. KSP can't get away, and this just got turned into a really rough situation to play Widow into.
Fine's going to be invested for Gig. Also the bomb for Buds looking to clear point. Can they find anyone? They are going to find Numlock. He's going to get booped up there. But Envy, they made their way back to the point. They're investing the Coalescence. They have the EMP available.
Also, KSP's had enough. He does not want to play Widow into something this divey in from Envy. So though, KSP going the Tracer, the swaps from Envy, forcing XL2's hand.
Jaru still taking these duels. Haku about to go down. He gets the pack, and Jaru decides not to touch it. He'd rather take the final point, and Envy, they get the flip, but XL2 are actually to beat this fight.
They're gonna drop the beat. XL2 charging back on in. KSP getting work here on the Tracer. Pulse bomb out. Does not take down the Ana. Just barely does Haku survive, but not for long. Jaru gets the finish towards the very end. But this is turning into a full brawl back and forth on the point. One that XL2 is about to turn back in their favor.
And Envy, their dive has not been clean. They have, especially now that KSP has gone to the Tracer, they don't have a clear dive target besides Haku. But it's easy to peel for him, considering that he has OG, he has Speedily, he has Buds. There's a lot of peel potential. Envy getting scrappy, but not cleaning it up. Have to re-enter the point here into XL2's Nano, into their pulse. Not a huge old for XL2.
Nano Doom off the other side. Wait, Numlock got Ana in the back. Envy, a little bit split out here. KSP though returns fire, deals with Happy. Down in pilot form. 88% here for XL2. Now the matter is how long can they survive. Numlock, Rivals play right now. The fight is taking place in multiple different avenues, but the bomb in the middle. Buds is gonna get back in, just barely hits back his neck. And Envy now struggling to stand the point. Bomb up from Jaru, lets it fly, does not connect.
This is just clean up here for XL2. This is going to be the round for them as well. They have far more players on the point. They have far better damage, far better sustain. And at the point to Envy, they really could not focus fire anything. It seems like Jaru was at times lost on the Tracer. Just really was not finding the value he needed. He was getting countered. And if they're going to play Tracer Winston, they need to be diving. They need to actually be isolating targets. And no one was isolated, especially not Haku.
Well, you take a look at that. There was multiple different skirmishes. It was not a blob versus blob. It was, we got two people fighting up here, two people down over there. It was all over the place, and it really worked out in XL2's favor just because they're getting more key pickoffs, particularly Speedily, on the Doomfist. But now, we move into the final stage here in Busan. It's 1-1. Envy, still on tournament point, still on the verge of being champions, but XL2 not wanting to go quietly into that good night.
Into the final round here in the series. XL2 rolling out here once again on the double sniper, hoping they're going to find more success than they have here than they have in the past. Though KSP's Widow has been fine, really just a little bit quiet at times. Envy though on the other side, running that Batiste in with the bunker, moving to the point, want to control that point, try to get some picks.
KSP working off the flank. XL2 on the opposite side. Halt out, looking for the finish through. This time not laying the headshots. Meanwhile, Numlock down. KSP able to get that one. XL2 going off on a good note here. Happy getting awfully low. Haku finishing what KSP sets up.
And this time XL2 finding a lot more success with the double sniper. Sharp is going to find OG, going to get that pick, but not a huge deal, is it really?
This is just a whole W moment for KSP. KSP just continually moving forward, landing shot after shot. Envy forced back for now.
KSP still watching this flank, looking for those picks. Crimzo, be careful peeking that. It's KSP, you must fear him at times. And Envy, they're not going to swap. They're actually going to come back to the point, not make any changes really. Early infrastrike for KSP, just going to watch this a push for Envy.
KSP still working on the flank. Envy, meanwhile, focused on the front line on the other side. And this is just every opportunity being used by KSP right now. So now the window. Gonna go down here from Fire. Amp Matrix in play. XL2, they drop the Transcends as resort, and look at that! Crimzo dealing with KSP off the flank. He had enough. Speedily. Dragon Strike down the middle the other way. Resurrection back up. The threat of KSP not done yet. Crimzo goes, you got back up. Let me put you back down again. Almost does it. Meanwhile, Sharp going wild on the other side.
Crimzo has been a very huge player insofar in this fight in terms of the space that he created. Sharp, though, just finding pick after pick. Sharp saying, okay, KSP, I can play Widow as well, but I still have to give a lot of credit to Crimzo, though, in terms of opening up the flanks, getting a big transcendence. Now XL2, they did get 63% on the point already, having to re-enter here versus Envy, and because Fire are about to have another Batiste ult, and there's no transfer Haku this time, the Batiste could ult on its own could win Envy this next fight. They just shred the shield, shred the tanks for XL2. Just
a lot of shredding in general. And this is where Envy also needs to make up for lost time. KSP! Revenge on the Crimzo. The Widow Zen duels continue. Sharp though fires back. And KSP! Once more! 2 up for KSP on the fight. He's still roaming on the flank. He's put XL2 in a really good position for the retake. Blizzard, Jaru deals with Haku. It's Jaru and Happy now holding down the fort. And Envy still in control of the point. The British Hurricanes former front line going on forward, looking for Gig. Gig forced back. Time is being bought for the Envy respawns to start getting back in.
And I have to give the edge to Envy here in this fight. That Fire is still staying alive and Crimso's back. They have the far better sustain here. KSB needs to get a pick for XL2 to win. But since KSB wasn't able to, they have to retreat, and already Envy have equalized the point here. Brought it back up. Now XL2 will have Bomb. They will have Dragon. They have the tank ults. But once again, the power of this Batiste comes into play, because not only do we have all the extra sustain, but another Ant Matrix. Well, as I say that, he's picked, so no Ant Matrix for Fire this time.
Remember, Envy right now, arguably one fight away from being champions once more. Bomb blocked by the wall. Speedily though, the Dragon does not care about the wall. Gets Jaru down. This fight, a very good opening from XL2. They're gonna rip it away. But for Envy, still a threat, 84%. This is the final fight that XL2 must win. They don't. The series is over, and the championship goes the way of Envy. We got a league swap here. Jaru, no more Mei. Now to Hanzo.
And now that Envy have, and now that Speedily and Buds have both used their ults, they don't, XL2 has no displacement ults. They have nothing to stop the Envy frontline. We're just sitting with this Ant Matrix, and we're making them move and displace around the shield here.
Supercharger down from XL2 first. Looking for poke the other way. The Charger out of the fight. Envy for the first hurdle. 94%. They need to start getting over to the point. Fire. The Amp Matrix. They move on forward. They lose Jaru. Haku. Big contribution from this end in the back. As XL2 fights to stay alive. 99 to 84. Sharp working on the outskirts here. This is incredibly tense. Envy working from the disadvantage. Buds is below. Somebody needs to heal Buds.
Buds, he's not going to get healed. He's going to get out of mech, and Speedily is down. It's KSB versus the world, and I have to say, the world is looking pretty good.
Well, KSB gets one here so far. Tooth and nail between both. Jaru and Heffical going to connect again. Sharp here in the back. Look for the Hanzo. KSB though. Fires on back. XL2 fighting for the very tournament lives. Heffical, one after another. KSP might have thrown up the point, but that's where he not want to be on his Widow. And Envy, they get the retake. XL2, this is now emergency delay time. Are they going to be able to do it?
XL2 swapping to a full swap. They're going to go full dive here, put Haku onto the Moira. KSP still playing the flanks, but you look at Envy's position, you look at the Orisa Hog, you look at the fact that Fire's about to have another Ant Matrix. They have no ults, it's going to be tough.
All they're looking for right now, final opportunity for XL2, the fight, Speedily! Already, first pickoff, 6-on-5, XL2, looking to bring it on back. Buds gets not blocked, the 6-on-4 is there. And now XL2, they've almost done it. Heffical, super low, might not be able to be the hero this time. Speedily working in the back, but Jaru and Fire! They connect through the back end side. Envy, they want to put this away now if they could. And you see Jaru looking to the Hammond on the other end. It is in overtime here still. Gig rolling around. Envy fighting tooth and nail. Down in numbers, but Jaru not giving up yet.
Jaru finding pick after pick. He's going to be able to fight Gig here as well. He's taking him so low. Jaru surviving has been crucial. He's doing so much damage on the point.
And Sharp back to the point. Sharp now on the Reaper. Reaper's so good in low number situations. Speedily won the last few alive. Goes to the Meteor Strike. XL2, Envy streaming to and fro. Speedily gets Sharp from above. Moves back on in. And XL2 fighting to stay alive one by one if they can. And this is looking like XL2 might have done it here, Avast.
They definitely have. I mean, it's still just streamlining in for Envy. They're touching the point. Numlock, he's close to the mines, but XL2, every member of them are here. The cleanup is there, and XL2 have taken the map.
XL2 not eliminated yet. What a fantastic last stand against Envy, who was so close to being the champions then and there.
And you have to give credit to the Speedily Doomfist there. The Speedily Doomfist, he's had more success on the Doom than I think he has on any other hero so far in this series. And he's really good at Doom. Yeah. And you see it there. And I think that if you could just put Speedily on the heroes he's comfortable with, this is going to be a lot closer series.
And I think that also could be one of the moments of, guys, we're about to be eliminated. What do we do? And you go, play what you're comfortable on. And really, Speedily, as you say, more impact on the Doom than he's had on the Hanzo or anything else that he's been on over the course of the series. So if you're XL2, ride the hot hand in more ways than one, the Doom Fist.
That is literally the hot hand. The Doom hand, the Doom hand there. And I think that is the crux right now for XL2. KSB, the rest of their performance has been fine all throughout it. It's just Speedily being quiet at times.
Yeah.
But we know that Speedily has a great Doom. We've seen it throughout the season, and we see it there at that clutch moment. And I think that if they can work around Speedily's comfort picks a little bit more, XL2 can not only bring back the series, but potentially win it.
And now, even though Envy's in a good position at 3-2, it starts getting a little bit more interesting here between the two teams. And seeing what's going to come up in the next map going to be very, very interesting.
I think Envy now have to be reserved a bit.
Yes.
They probably have the momentum going forward. Losing that map in such a hotly contested moment means that they are going to have a little bit of a pause. They need to regroup a bit. And XL2 just have to reformat their strategy a little bit.
No doubt about it. Well, I know we need a break after that one. I think the viewers do, and certainly the teams do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the series continues.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
XL2 fighting their way back from the brink. Avast, they were one fight away from being eliminated, and that is the moment where if you are a team that can challenge a champion, you have to rise up, and that's what we saw from XL2. They fought it on back, and the big moment that we noticed in all of that is that Speedily bringing out the emergency Doom Fist that worked out really well.
The Speedily Doom was huge. It was absolutely huge there for XL2, and it's something that they should try to play around more, in my opinion, or at least get him off of the Hanzo at times, because they haven't had a lot of success so far trying to play those compositions. But when he comes back on that Doom, he gets those kills, he swings it in favor for XL2, keeps their hopes alive here in the NA West Grand Finals. And XL2 are not going down without a fight.
No, and this is what you love to see when you get in the finals. No one wants to see the sweep to end things out. No, you want to see a team taken to the limit, and as good as Envy has been, XL2 has been taking them to task at points in the series. 3-2, it's still the champions, defending champions Envy, working with a bit of an edge, but that can be ripped away, and you want to talk about just mental destruction on the other end. When you're so close to winning it all, and then it's taken away from you in this dramatic fashion, no less. That's something that where Envy just needs to pick themselves up and remember, look, only one more map.
So it is going to be Envy selecting the next map because it's loser's pick, and it's going to be King's Row. King's Row going to be the map that Envy are picking here. And is now currently, what is that? It's 3. We are now at 3-2 is our score.
3-2.
3-2 is our score.
Map
line, right?
6.
Map 6 is on the field. We could have a map 7 even if XL2 win this. And you know what hero is actually pretty good on King's Row?
Doomfist. Yeah. And I love this. XL2, continue playing to your strengths in the way that you are right now. Might have been their game plan from the beginning, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe that they just look at what's going on now and think, you know, Envy, you haven't been dealing with the Doomfist very well. We're going to run it until you prove you can stop it.
Now XL2 on the offense first, running this Widow Doom as a double threat. KSB on the Widow, Speedily on the Doom, so they're on comfort picks. They have the ability, and they swap. Well, that's why you don't trust spawn picks. No. That's why you don't trust spawn picks, but am I disappointed? Yes.
I'm very disappointed. I would have loved to have seen the Doomfist here one more time because we've seen this matchup before, and this so far has been a matchup that Envy has won more often than not.
So XL2 has swapped onto the Hanzo Mei. A lot of shield break for XL2 now that they have the Hog, they have the Zen Batiste. And Envy, they're playing pretty much the same combo with the Crimson on the Ana, so they're not looking to play a little bit slower, build up towards that nano boost. They know they can't trade shields nearly as effectively. Though as you say that, Fire is the one to clean up and pick off. Bye-bye OG.
That's going to take the wind out of the sails of this first attack here from XL2. Bud's taking a nap in the back, but Envy, they don't need to chase that down. That's sometimes something that teams get wrong is that, yeah, sometimes you can punish a team, but also, they need a full 6. You can just wait.
So Envy still just peeking around, getting the poke. Playing slow as KSP, he finds Fire. That's a lot of utility off the field. The Immortality field is now gone.
It's counter fire, KSP starting the roll. 2 for KSP early in the fight. Going up for the top. Punished by Sharp over on the other side, but I think too many have fallen here for Envy. Sharp might still be alive, but who's here with them? He has to jump on that point unceremoniously. XL2 still sets a pretty decent time here at point A.
KSP opening it up, playing those angles, and that's all there is to it. There's nothing else to say, just KSP hit his shots. He flanked and hit his shots. And now Envy swapping, putting Sharp onto the Reaper, getting Crimzo onto the Moira and Fire on the Lucio. So they're going to hold a lot more aggressively. They're going to want to take this fight very early at the choke. They should know that the Amp Matrix is already going to be up for OG along with that Dragon for KSP. Maybe look to mitigate that.
You see the Immortality field down from XL2 as they try and get through the choke point, but this is getting awfully chilly here. And the Blizzard going to be coming down a little bit later in the fight. I'm not even sure it was needed. Blizzard onto the back, XL2 frozen and done. Like a badly cooked microwave dinner.
I have to give it a lot of credit there to Fire, where the Amp Matrix and Immortality Field come out early for XL2. They're playing the choke, and then Fire boops OG out of that Immortality Field, out of the loving arms of his tanks, and directly into the waiting maw of Envy there. And they cleaned him up. So good boop there for Fire. And you have to remember that Immortality Field is not mobile. So if you move them out of that radius, they are no longer immortal.
It's a very limited immortality, as it turns out. Charu finding Haku early, and I mean, Haku's Transcendence, that was a linchpin of XL2's attack, so you see XL2 go, yeah, we're just gonna pull the Homer Simpson back into the bushes here and wait for a full 6.
So XL2 have made these swaps now as well, so they've gone to the Reaper, they've gone to the Lucio, Bud's on the D.Va. So a mirror matchup for them, except for Haku on this end. They're gonna look to maybe try to get a discipline early.
Early Supercharger followed by the Transcendence. Envy, though, not gonna be two-phased. Jaro, though, falls, but Happy, the bomb's so much bigger! It doesn't matter! Happy does it again!
Was OG watching? Was OG watching for that there bomb? Because he sort of just sat there as the bomb landed.
I think there was a lot
Maybe he wasn't
going on.
watching the trajectory. Maybe he wasn't watching the trajectory, but they lose those. But they won't only have lost one pick if OG doesn't go down there. But Envy still continue to hold. Gonna hold tight there. And that's the trance invested for Haku. The Blizzard as well for Speedy. 2 big ults out. Another minute off the clock. And Envy, they have a Blizzard of their own.
Envy is just chewing up the clock right now, and this is quite a problem from XL2. And next fight doesn't get any better. Death Blossom, Blizzard, and oh, look at this, the helicopter from above! Sharp diving on in, finding OG. And Envy holding on strong.
Getting that much value of Death Blossom is in itself a victory. Just not only winning the fight, but generally Death Blossom has found pretty hard to set up. You have a D.Va to eat it, you can get frozen, you can get booped away, you have the barriers from Numlocked, or rather from the Orisa. So Sharp finding that much value with just the Death Blossom is huge for him, because now they can continue to hold the choke, they still hold on to Blizzard, and XL2 pretty far away from the majority of their big ults.
Jaru holding on to the Blizzard under very heavy fire, might not get a chance to throw it away, gets stuck with the halt. And now under pressure, drops the Blizzard, might give up his life for it. The Ice Block gone, but the Blizzard buying enough space. Jaru even gets to live to fight another day. And XL2, they've been thrown into the ult washing machine right now.
They have, and they forced that race so early there from KSB, who's looking to appeal for his team. He gets caught in the Blizzard, and it's so important to watch those cooldowns with a pre-Blizzard fight, because you need those escapes, you need those sustains. And they're leaving Bloods out of mech. They're letting him poke a little bit, but they're going to hopefully finish him off before he can get re-mech there. Jaru throwing some icicles, still looking, is going to find them. So now that's another stagger for XL2. They invested the coalescence in the fight previously. And most importantly, they still don't have their biggest ult. They still don't have the Blizzard. They don't have the beat to get through the choke just yet. With the bomb, with the supercharger, they do have the space creation.
KSP, 15% away from Death Blossom. Samp over the top. XL2 time is now becoming to be a really big factor. KSP moving forward. Death Blossom builds up, but has to get out of the fight while blocking his escape. The supercharger from Envy gives him a lot of point presence. Barry keeping him alive. KSP dives on in, is immediately dispatched. And the bomb does nothing. XL2 throwing ults into the abyss.
Remember how we talked about how Death Blossom is really hard to get value from? You just saw it. You just saw the demonstration. The PowerPoint has been used because there's a matrix, there's a barrier, there's escapes. And if you don't deny the value for D.Va, or if you don't put yourself in a position to succeed there with the Death Blossom, that's what happens. And already look at all the time burned off the clock for XL2. They're in their last minute to push. They just use a lot of their big ults. It's the Blizzard time, but it's Blizzard v Blizzard.
XL2 could win every last fight on point B, and they still wouldn't finish point B until overtime. They're in a very tough situation. Remember, they're still fighting for their tournament life.
Oh, when you see a bird, Ice Block speedily going deep. He hasn't put the Blizzard out just yet, but then there's that Death Blossom from Sharp. And speedily, he's gone, no Blizzard.
Speedily down on the other side, the Blizzard from Envy, giving them a lot of space. Coalescence gonna be used, Gig, and real danger, getting burned on down, just trying to get away. And Envy chasing him down. Guess what? On the other side, Happy has a bomb. He's gonna let it fly. The bomb up, over, connects, takes down the Lucio on the side. And Envy now 15 seconds away from a dominant point B hold that will likely lead to the championship.
And speedily going down, dropping the Blizzard, but everyone's dead for XL2. They're having to come back to the point. But it's Moira Orisa versus the world. But he's charging back on the Reinhardt, just a touch. But this fight is over. Envy have held it here. And what a brilliant second hold. It's no point in XL2 really just find a way to break it open. They didn't put themselves in a position to succeed.
XL2 about to fall here. They bring up the Doom Fist, but too little, too late. The hold on second, and an early second point hold, no less, is complete. And XL2, they want to stay alive. They had a gutsy comeback on Busan a moment ago. But it's going to have to be even more tremendous here in Kings Row, and really, they need a first point hold. I don't think they're going to be able to repeat the feat we just saw in second. I think it's first or nothing.
Not against Envy, because Envy have been masters of terms of actually setting up these engages. And it's so important, especially when you're playing May Reaper, about setting up your fights. In XL2, they weren't forcing cooldowns. They weren't putting their May or their Reaper in those positions to succeed with the freezes or the halts, anything. They just clearly did not have the same level of setup that Envy has that we've seen throughout the series. But you know what they do have? They have pop-off potential. They have a whole can of pop-off that they can open. But I want to see a Speedily Doom if that is the case.
Well, I mean, we're going to see if there's anything left in that can. They had to expend a lot of it back in Busan. And for XL2 on the defense, they're not looking to go towards the Doom. They're going to play as they've practiced, which generally is a safer maneuver. The problem has been is that Envy has been able to get through it. But XL2 going to be coming out here on the May Hanzo. Tournament life on the line. Envy championship point and not far to go.
And you have to be pretty favored if you look at Envy, when you look at that hold, when you see the performance on really anything other than control in this series, Envy are looking pretty favored here in the matchup. XL2 playing this in Batiste, having that Hanzo May, so they have a lot of ability to shield break to get picks, but they can't lose anyone early.
SP looking for early pickoffs. XL2, they need to get Envy stuck in a stagger cycle over and over again if they're going to make this hold happen. Numlock, learning how to fly, start things out here. Envy taking their time, moving on forward, starting to apply pressure. They get the hook on in. Buds! Immortality Field gonna help them survive. Tense moments here for XL2, but they get the first pick. Crimzo, down and out. Needs to be the first of many.
Now Envy, they don't want to lose any other players. They have to play tight. They have to play around these corners. They can't peek right now. Without Crimzo, without Jaru, they're missing a lot of healing. They're missing the wall to break hooks. And right as I say that, the halt hook comes out. Numlock gets caught. Guess did not have to fortify in time. And Envy getting staggered here a bit. XL2 doing a good job here. They have the early Ant Matrix. They can trade it when Fire drops his own. Not a bad spot.
But every minute is going to feel like an eternity for how much XL2 has to hold against here to stay alive and force a definitive map 7.
Envy now, they do have all their spawners. The halt's going to come out, does not find anyone. Ant Matrix is going to be dueling here. But a much earlier Immortality Field, and that's the important thing here, is that the Immortality Field for Envy is getting a lot more value. They've cleared the point. They can walk forward now. XL2 looking for the flank, trying to find anyone, but do not.
KSP not quite coming to flank here just had XL2. All close to each other right now. But KSP able to find Hanzo on the other end. One man up. Haku falls through. The Dragon splitting off Envy. Crimzo probably gonna save that Transcendence here. There's 2 minutes burned off the clock as XL2 marches forward to the first point hold dream. Happy though gets OG. And I think XL2 should be able to recover from that.
That could be exactly what they needed, though. Sharp, he finds it. Oh my goodness, that's so important. Both the backline down. They're going to move forward here. They don't have to fear Ant Matrix. They don't have to fear the Discord. Sharp finds another. Sharp, he can't be stopped. They invest the Blizzard here as well. They won't have it for choke.
And the Blizzard, I don't think it's going to be enough. Sharp's starting to will the game right back over to Envy. First point hold. The dreams of it are gone. And XL2, if they want to stay alive, they need an even better hold on second. But Envy, they're roaring towards destiny. They have so many ults up for the next fight, and one fight is all XL2 gets.
And it's so important here to look at the fact that Speedily does not have Blizzard, and Jaru does. You see now they swap Buds onto the D.Va. They know they need to eat this Blizzard. If they can eat Blizzard, there is a chance for XL2. They have defensive ults. But if I'm Envy, I'm looking to use my Dragon here, force that Immortality Field, force some early Matrix, and then this Blizzard is coming out. You have the Supercharger as well, so much is in their banks.
Dragon out early, Supercharger used from XL2. They need good counterfire. Jaru in danger. Jaru just barely able to slip away. XL2 needed that so badly. Still 3.5 minutes left here to hold. And Envy gonna reset just for a moment. Now they drop a Supercharger in their own. Jaru's in. Jaru can't get the Blizzard away. Happy, come man the other side. Transcendence invested here from XL2. Envy still moving forward. The Supercharger, heavy pressure on the gang. They drop the Immortality Field just in time. The Immortality Field no down. And the point pressure still moving in. Sharp on the outskirts.
Jaru's back. Blizzard's available. They have no defensive ults.
Jaro moving on forward. This time I don't think he's gonna fall before it gets all cold here on the point. The Blizzard is in, and it's a good Blizzard at that. Haku down. Envy about to do it here, and now they're moving on forward. That's gonna be it. Envy, your champions once more.
And you have to look at Envy, you have to look to Sharp there, opening up first, Happy goes well, getting that key pick off, and so important there is that they just had the far superior bank, they had the far superior time to push, they just had to play for the perfect fight, and even if Jaro goes down, they're trading ults, and guess who wins in a trading ult scenario? The team that still has Blizzard.
Not only that, but in terms of trading back and forth, XL2 had to be perfect to a ridiculous degree there, given where that was, given where the spawns were, because yeah, Jaro might have died. Sure, he died, but the spawn's right there. He's going to be coming on back. And when he did finally get a chance to drop the Blizzard, that was the dagger to the heart of XL2. But it's not all doom and gloom for XL2. They might have fallen here, still going to the Gauntlet later this year, still on an arc of remarkable improvement.
You can feel good there for XL2. It's still, at the end of the day, they're going to the big land, they're going to the big event. They just could not finish out in a West Finals, but they put up a good performance still. It was by no means a blowout. They had some close matches, especially for Control, where they won maps. But Envy. Envy still looking weaker, but looking very, very solid.
And for Envy too, I would argue that Envy has also been on their own mini arc of improvement where they had to adjust pretty readily. You lose your tank frontline and it's tough. But we've seen week after week, Numlocked and Happy have really started to meld with Envy, and what a breakout series for Happy, where, again, Happy has had his ups and downs over the year, one of the more veteran players in Overwatch, period. But this is something you put on your resume. He looks fantastic here today.
Happy no longer mid-tier in A. Free from the bonds, and he gets the return.
You put him in those bonds.
And he gets a return to Korea, though, for a second chance. That's more important than anything else, is that he's already talked about it, but he gets to go back to Korea. This time, though, potentially a champion. So huge.
It's really good for Hapical and Numlocked, to be sure. And you know, while we're dishing out props, one final moment here is, you want to talk about a guy with a bright future right now? KSP. Yeah, XL2 might have fallen.
Well, and Sharp. I think it's just the battle of incredibly bright future hit scans in both of these.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm giving more focus to KSP because XL2, obviously, the weaker team overall, but KSP made them so remarkably threatening all series long. But I agree, it was a battle between him and Sharp all throughout. Really exciting play to watch.
It is, and it's a reason that we've identified Sharp now for a while. KSP has been on the up and up, and this is overall a good series of Overwatch. Could it have been a lot closer? Did XL2 struggle at times? Yes. But they made it not a blowout. And that's the important thing. That's what you want for a grand finals, is you want a good performance here. And this is still very early into this meta. Remember, we just now swapped to this block for playoffs for Contenders, and they can all just move forward to the Gauntlet and improve.
Yeah, I mean, we have so much time now between here and Gauntlet for teams to figure out what they want to do. But now, we put West to the side, Envy champions once more. We have another repeat story that's about to be heading towards you. It's going to be Atlanta Academy, not only looking to defend their throne, but looking to defend their perfect season against the dark horse story of all dark horse stories in Gladiators Legion, a team that scraped their way in the playoffs and found their way back in. That's coming at you right after the break.